The world's quickest man to do it.
The world's quickest man to ever do it. Hello and welcome back to the three-digit World Cup quarterfinals. This is a winner's quarterfinals match between the United States and Sweden. I'm Dio, back here again with Mr. Fiery Rage. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Finally, afternoon casting.
Finally, I get to cast at 12 p.m. in actual time. This is crazy. The players are already underway. So they got their rolls underway. Bashi winning the roll by 1 point. Congratulations to Bashi, man. I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work. Waiting on the United States to decide the ban or pick order here. So talk a bit about these teams real quick. Dio, got anything to say?
Yeah, absolutely. The United States is one of the teams that was slated before the tournament as pretty much a shoo-in for second place behind South Korea, of course. South Korea's roster is kind of insane this year, frankly. Not sure how that's a three-digit roster, but okay, sure. Sweden.
It's okay. Form is 2-digit now. Don't worry about it.
Of course. But yeah, this is a United States team that has a significant portion of their World Cup team and a significant amount of players who are good enough to play the World Cup for the United States as well. Takedo Bashi Kama from the World Cup team last year, Dekaten from the 2022 World Cup team, and then Razorfruit and Tallulah as well. Two very, very good three-digit tournament players in the United States. Team's really good at everything. Definitely a bit of a focus toward, I would say, hard rock and speed over the hidden and gimmick stuff, but definitely still really good hidden reading and gimmick players on this team, with Takedo Bashi, Dekaten as a really strong gimmick trio for this team. Meanwhile, on Sweden, you have Skilla, Yageko, Lightwine, Melwem, Trumpetino, and Spinks. Again, a pretty significant portion of their World Cup team, with Skilla, Yageko, Trumpetino, and Spinks, and Lightwine as well, all from previous World Cup iterations of Sweden's roster. Skilla and Spinks in particular, very, very good players in the World Cup this year for Sweden. I think those are going to be the standout players, and particularly Skilla, that you want to watch out for on the Swedish roster.
I mean, even Skilla, like, in three-digit World Cup, he was number 2, I think, out of qualifiers overall, just in terms of overall score, somewhere around that. I think he was top 3. I'm not sure if it was number 2 exactly, but he was somewhere in that top echelon, which I thought was absolutely crazy.
And he was number 7 last week in round of 16. Like, this is a guy who's really, really good and consistently performs very well for this roster, whether it's in the World Cups or even just in normal open rank tournaments.
Pick and ban order has been decided finally after a bit of a delay. So, United States getting first pick, Sweden getting second ban. See what they opt to ban. For the United States, I'd argue probably a good idea, unironically, to ban Hidden 2 out here, or one of the RNG maps in Nomad 4 DT2. I think either one of those 3 maps would be a good choice. I'm not too sure which one they would go for, necessarily, but I think out of everything, or Hidden 1, that also works.
If you look at the qualifier scores and some of the head-to-heads from last weekend for Sweden and the United States, yeah, I think definitely some of the no mods, maybe one of the free mods as well. Good bans for the United States. Sweden winning head-to-heads on free mod 1, Hidden 1, No Mod 4, and No Mod 2 last weekend against the United States, if you compare their scores directly. The United States winning head-to-head on the Hard Rocks. They were number 1 on the Hard Rock 2 versus number 8 on the Hard Rock 2 for Sweden. And head-to-heads on both DT1 and DT2 last weekend for the United States. So definitely some speed mechanics bans probably to come out from Sweden, but it's actually the Hidden 2 ban that's going to be the ban out for Sweden instead. And the Hidden 1 ban from the United States. Okay. So just 0 hidden at all. And a No Mod 2 first pick here for Sweden. I do think this is a good first pick for Sweden. Again, a lot of the United States roster is, on paper, pretty good at this speed, but in practice, Sweden has been better. So I think this is a fine first pick for them. And especially in a matchup where, you know, you're against a team who is way higher seeded, picking into straightforward mechanics is usually a pretty good strategy.
Testing the waters with your first pick. You don't have too much to lose in a best of 11 if you lose your first pick. It's not the end of the world. It just means you have to get that pick back at some point, which you have multiple opportunities to do. It's not going to necessarily hurt you if you go into a match with that mentality. Even then, Sweden, in practice, is favored on this, so it's interesting to see how the United States are going to respond to this. I imagine going to be seeing the general speed core come out, Kama and Tallulah for the United States. If Takedo is here, I imagine he's going to be the third. Otherwise, Takedo probably going to be hopping in there.
Yeah, it was Tallulah and Kama last weekend on the United States for the Nomad 2 in round of 16. Very similar Nomad 2 to this pick in the quarterfinals as well. And it was Tallulah, Kama, and Decaton on that map for the United States. Definitely not their ideal speed roster. Again, with Decaton really not being a speed stream player like what this map demands. Razorfruit, I think, is a much better fill player for them on this sort of map. And actually, you do see Takedo in as well. So several players who I think could do really well on this map for the United States now. And with Decaton not in on this map, I think that gives the USA a pretty good chance of breakpointing this first pick from Sweden. We'll see how they end up doing with the United States putting up the number 4 and number 3 scores on DT1, DT2 last weekend. I think their full power was not in play during the Nomad 2 last week.
Well, Takedo not present at all during the prior match, and he would have been for sure in on quite a number of the maps that they played, actually.
Thank you, Maggie.
So, no worries.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some dog walking outside.
You know what happens sometimes.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Nonetheless, not much to really say about this map. It's straightforward mechanics, mostly focused on your tapping. Just a couple of wacky rhythms here and there, and a couple of aim parts, which we see Lightwine and Chikeko both miss on early on here.
And pretty good accuracy for all the members of the United States as well. 99 on 2, 98 on Kama. There's actually a slider break for Takedo right in the middle of a slower section as well. Now getting into the streams in 1/3. It's going to benefit Sweden a lot, but Lightwine struggling on the accuracy. And, of course, Trumpetino not quite at that 97 mark means the FCs from Razorfruit and Kama can be doing more work for the U.S. than the combos from the Swedish team. Kama struggling, but Lightwine struggling more. There's another miss to come through for Sweden, and it's still only Trumpetino on that full combo. Kama does continue to drop this accuracy, but is it going to matter is really the question here. 100k and climbing for the United States now.
He missed. Okay, never mind. There goes everybody on one single pattern. It's just Razorfruit now on the FC, and no one else in the lobby even comes close. I'm pretty sure that's going to seal the deal.
It has to at this point, and you know, on paper, the Nomad 2 from last weekend may be a good pick for Sweden. They do have the head-to-head, but you look into the rest of the maps, you look into the speed scores in the rest of round of 16 with the DT1 and DT2, top 4 scores on both those maps for the United States. You look into the speed scores from qualifiers, number 1 overall score on the DT2 and qualifiers for the United States, number 4 and number 13 on the DT1, and it paints a very different picture to the pretty minuscule 40k score lead that Sweden had on Nomad 2 last weekend, and it's going to be a blowout here, 200k in favor of the United States on Sweden's first pick.
I do want to say, though, Sweden overall looked a bit more confident on that pick. Takedo and Kama, especially near the end, I think their stamina was starting to give out. So I don't necessarily think that that would deter them from maybe considering DT3. But other than that, very solid breakpoint for the United States off Razorfruit's S rank. See what the United States set pick here to consolidate this breakpoint.
I mean, if you're winning by 200k on the first pick on speed from Sweden, and you have the history in the rest of the tournament so far of being better on double time in particular, I think picking something like the DT1 can be very strong for the United States. They definitely feel a little less confident in terms of the accuracy, as you said, on some of the more just pure speed focused picks. So maybe they avoid end time and go towards the DT1. I don't expect them to pick DT2 just because, as we saw in the last match between Canada and France, that map is really RNG. There's so many buzz sliders, there's so many easy places to break that even if you are the stronger team, if you just find a couple of ship misses on a few of your members, it can swing the other way completely. And Sweden had good enough accuracy on that last pick to maybe make them think twice about picking into that DT2 on the side of the United States. But I think DT1, DT3 are good picks. Or they can just go with Nomad 3. Again, this is a really good gimmick roster. You have players like Takedo, Bashi, Kama, Decaton. This is an extremely strong gimmick roster from the United States, especially on something like Nomad, where all of those members can be comfortable.
And going for overall consistency, I think benefits the United States quite a bit. Sweden have a decent amount of overall consistency players. Lightwine and Skilla, I think in particular, are probably the standouts to me in terms of what they excel at. Skilla obviously just kind of good at everything besides tapping. So going to be seeing him in. Pinks and Trumpetino seem to be rounding out the roster for Sweden. Kama, Decaden on the United States. I imagine probably going to be Bashi for the last one. If not Bashi, then it's going to be Takedo.
I have to think it's going to be Bashi, man. Last week, really, Takedo for this. I'm actually a little surprised. Last weekend, the United States was #1 on the Nomad 3 Glacier Fall in round of 16. They had Bashiman, Decaton, and Kama playing that. They were #1 on Breathe in the Hard Rock pool, the finger control gimmick precision map, with Kama, Bashi, Decaton again going in for that map. And then even in qualifiers, when they were playing Akan Baby in Hard Rock, it was Bashiman, Decaton, and Kama. When they were playing some of the more gimmicky Nomad maps, like Nephilim and Critical Cannonball, they did have Takedo in for those, but it really has been a story of the other members here for the United States so far. So Takedo coming in for what is one of the first gimmick maps that he has had the chance to play so far in the bracket stage of the 3-digit World Cup here.
You're not going to mention Deca shouting you out?
Wait, I didn't see the smoke. My bad. I literally didn't see. I was looking at my other monitor.
Oh, it's over.
Why am I looking at the tourney client when they're not even playing the map?
It's so over.
Thanks, Deca. Hey, man.
Not going to be expecting high accuracies on this map as we progress through a lot of swing rhythm, which is fairly hard to consistently act, especially at even if the OD is relatively low at almost 9, it's still pretty difficult to act, as we saw in the last match. So these accuracies that you're seeing on your scoreboard right now probably going to be dropping as we progress through the map. Obviously, Kama, kind of the standout accuracy man. So maybe we'll see a good accuracy score from him, but nonetheless, first hard part, not really any difficulties in terms of the combo department for any of these players.
Really
as soon as I say that,
though, yeah, and it's going to be beneficial for Sweden. Talked a lot about maybe team consistency mattering more for Sweden. Right now, that's the case. The accuracy keeping in favor of the United States right now with 97 on both Kama and Takedo. But 97 on Skilla is going to keep this close enough for Sweden. Really dependent on the combo, though, from both Zbinks and especially Trumpetino on 92 accuracy there for Sweden.
There's a couple of jump sections here that might be scary with these combos. We'll see how it goes. Here's one of them right there. There goes Kama! Okay, that gets things very interesting. Both the high accuracies are gone on the United States in terms of the combo. It's just Deca on the 94.5, which is countered by Pinks, and Skilla holding on to a 97.5.
Oh my god, Deca!
Okay, what is going on?
Was that turning
client?
client?
What is happening?
Was that turning client? Did he lag? Did he, like, he must have lagged or something, no? Like, what is that miss? Oh, no. Like, actually disaster for the United States now. 3-way full combos still intact for Sweden.
Class.
Yeah, like, holy. This is not how I expected this match to go, by the way. I expected, maybe Sweden to pick into some of the speed maps and try to upset on those. I expected Sweden to maybe pick into some of the reading maps or hidden maps, as they had, pretty good hidden players on this roster. They had pretty good stream players on this roster with stuff like the free mod 2. I did not expect them to win, like, no mod finger control alt gimmick against the United States. That is not what you expect them to try to find breakpoints on in this match.
Yeah, it was just unlucky slider breaks from Taquito and Deca missing on literal air. Other than that, it would be a pretty much completely different story. It'd just be Kama missing right now, and it would be traded by Trumpetino right there. But, like, it doesn't matter. 400k point difference.
Yeah, this is... again, you don't want to call it with a quarter of the map left, but 2 full combos left for Sweden. And it's the good accuracy players as well. There goes Skilla on the 97 full combo. A little bit of cursor dance and frustration after the miss, but Spinks is there to back him up. And again, like you said, 400,000 score lead for the United States. It would take a similar disaster from Sweden right now for this to go over, and it's just not happening. Spinks holding on to this FC for Sweden. Skilla and Spink, these 2 players we called out at the start of the match as players to watch on the Swedish roster, delivering on that promise here in the Nomad 3.
The score lead is going to be shifting over back towards the United States, but as long as Spinks holds, not going to really make too much of a dent here. We'll probably go around 200k, maybe 250k, but it's going to be nonetheless a break point right back for Sweden. That was even better.
What is Deca?
I vibe with it.
What are we on, bro? All right.
Skills accuracy. Anyway, let's move on to the next map.
Disaster class fiery. Good line and good description. Honestly, that is tragic for the United States with how that map played out. Now Sweden, maybe looking towards some of these lower star rating maps, maybe looking towards some of the more gimmicky picks in the pool. I think definitely the lower star rating and more straightforward picks, more consistency focused picks are going to benefit them in this pool. I'm hoping for free mod 2, personally.
Free mod 2, I think, is generally a good pick for Sweden here. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick it, or any of the free mods, really. I think free mods in general, Sweden has a fairly decent roster to balance it out against the United States. See what they opt to go for here. There you go, free mod 2.
Yeah. I think just the smartest pick in the pool here for Sweden. You win on a more consistency-focused gimmick pick in Nomad. You have players who are strong on Hidden and strong on Hard Rock, but not a full roster that's strong at really either of those things for Sweden. And so I think picking into something like this, where you can have some of your carry players really comfortable with how they have to play this map, is very good for them. And of course, last weekend on the free mod 2 was more of a death stream pick. A little bit higher BPM on the 210 BPM, a little bit less comfortable on the kind of LMT flow aim with really tricky curves and tons of cornering going on in that map. So this map a little more straightforward, and Sweden was still the number 2 overall team score on that map last week. So that was a really good map for Sweden, and I might add that map was pretty popular. 10 plays on the map last weekend. They were second only to Germany on the free mod 2 last week.
And this map more or less the same. Some pretty easy beginning, followed by a hard stream section, followed by a relatively easy stream section, which then it goes and repeats itself. We'll see how Sweden does on this. We did mention they're number 2 on the free mod 2 last time. This is 10 BPM lower. And a bit less death stream heavy, so might see a couple of different players here. We saw Skilla on the Hidden. I imagine that's going to not change whatsoever. Trumpetino on the Nomad, Lightwine on the Hard Rock for Sweden. United States, I imagine you just go for Taquito on the Hidden here, and Deca on the Nomad, probably Kama Hard Rock.
One thing to note, I actually might disagree with that and put Deca on the Hard Rock for this. One thing to note on this map, Hard Rock is way harder than either the Nomad or Hidden on this. And I think a lot of how this map goes is going to come down to how well the Hard Rock players on either team can combo this. With, CS4, AR 9.6, and only OD9, Nomad and Hidden are decisively easier on this. So I feel like having that comfort Hard Rock player is going to be really important for either team. I know... Oh, that is...
They ran out of time.
They ran out of time. They must have ran out of time. And, yep, there's the abort come through.
I think... Yeah, no, they definitely ran out of time getting prepared. It was, I think, around 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was already an over 2 minutes from the United States there.
Nonetheless, Tallulah going to be coming in. He's going to be on the Hard Rock, so Deca's still on the Nomad. We got Melwem on the side of Sweden coming in, going on the Nomad this time instead of Trumpetino. We'll see how these roster swaps change this map. As we said, not really anything in the beginning to miss on here. Sometimes maybe you'll get an unlucky slider break here and there, but for the most part, there's not really that much to miss on. Maybe some of these jumps. Once we get into the stream sections, that's where it starts picking up really hard. Here we go.
All right, everybody holding strong during the start of this stream section. Again, higher spacing on that Hard Rock. Flow really important for the Hidden players here, and nobody giving an inch at the moment. Everyone's still holding strong for both sides right now. It is a slight accuracy lead for Sweden right now, but that could change in just a moment. Super high accuracy on both sides. Everyone in the lobby above 99 at the moment, and this is tense right now, almost halfway through with 6 full combos still intact and a score difference of 2,500 for Sweden.
Yeah, this is where the nerves are going to come in. Who has the better nerve control? You're seeing that leaderboard and you're seeing 6 FCs, and you know as soon as you miss that score lead is going to shift over. We already see the shakes coming in for a lot of players. So this next hard part is going to pretty much determine the map here. We'll see how many people hold on.
I'm really looking at these Hard Rock players now as again, the flow aim on these Hard Rocks is way more difficult than on either the Nomad or the Hidden. You're looking for consistency on the Nomad and good flow on the Hidden, but you're looking for precise control on these Hard Rocks with the space streams really starting to space out here. What is this score from both of these teams? Tallulah misses on the jumps! He misses right after the stream section, and that is it! Sweden! No, Melwem actually drops as well on the Nomad, and now it is Skilla and Lightwine versus Taquito and Deca going into the very last section of the map. Hard Rock still intact for Sweden, but the Nomad is gone. These modded players have to pop off for Sweden to win this pick, and they both make it through that section. You're kidding me. 4 full combos still intact. Misses for Melwem and Tallulah at basically the same point in the map. Their scores are completely evened out, and it is the extra mod advantage and AC advantage for Sweden that is going to bring them the point. 100 on Skilla with the Hidden. Full combo on Hard Rock for Lightwine. That is a pop-off team score for Sweden with those modded players carrying them.
Yeah, we just saw the top 2 team scores on this map for this weekend, I think.
No kidding.
Like that Hard Rock FC from Lightwine especially, I think that'd be like, what, 650 PP? Probably more than that. Insane performance from literally every single player. It's just the mod advantage, as you said. That's the only difference here.
Incredibly close point between the USA and Sweden on that map, and that is not an underperformance by the United States. That is just both teams playing out of their minds. Really good team scores from both of them. Nothing but praise on that map.
Well, it's going to be Sweden finally getting one of their points on the board here. Not finally, but getting one of their points on the board. So United States to follow up now, trying to get one of their own maps. See what they opt to go for here. No more stream-oriented maps, except for DT3, but that's more speed than stream. I'm kind of... Okay, never mind. Hard Rock 2. I was thinking maybe the Nomad 1 might be a decent option for the United States here after the Hidden 2 ban, but going for Precision instead.
And this is one of the harder maps in the pool, right? Precision as a general case is understarred. This is still 7.2 stars. The last map, even with it being flow aim, was 6.9 stars, Nomad. So this is a much more difficult sort of map for either of these teams. And this is a map that really tests how good your hard rock mechanics are as well. A lot of really tricky sorts of patterns in this map. This is a collab by Cubby and Ascended, ranked last year, and a more modern take on a song that has seen many different sorts of maps throughout its history in the game.
When you hear Scubby and Ascended, or not Scubby, Cubby.
Combining a couple of mappers there, right?
Yeah, no, Scubby Domino, don't worry about it. I got it. I got the new diff name for them if they ever decide to collab. I'm on it, guys. Don't worry about it. But yeah, if you hear Cubby, you're generally going to be thinking of tech-oriented maps. And this map, I think, probably no different in that regard. There's only one Hard Rock FC, and it's from Hyok. We're going to be seeing tomorrow.
And we'll say the United States, again, kind of cutting it close with the getting in the lobby on time here. The last map, they did not have 3 players in the lobby after the timer ran out, and so the ref correctly just started the map. That's what you're supposed to do as a ref. That's the rules. So they're making sure this time they got 3 players in the lobby before everything starts up. And we're going to see Decaton, Bashi, and Kama in for this map on the side of the United States. I think this is a really good roster for the U.S. All really good hard rock players and good precision and gimmick players as well for the U.S. Zbinks, Lightwine, and Skilla looking to upset on this map and take a breakpoint for Sweden.
The United States have a very strong hard rock roster, so you're kind of expecting them to pick into this at some point. Sweden as well. You mentioned they have some really good hard rock players, Lightwine. Skilla can kind of just play everything, but in general, the overall team consistency, I think, would favor the United States on this. You see a very early miss from Pinks, but not going to be the end of the world unless it keeps happening.
That is already a 3-way break for Sweden, yeah. When we talk about this map being hard, star rating does some things for it, but you can tell with these perfect stack triples, with the slider jumps, with all the really kind of awkward patterning in this map, it is very, very difficult, even besides that star rating being high for a precision pick. Bashi as well, finding a miss for the United States, but Kama Decaton's still holding strong for them right now.
This score gap is already 300k, and we're halfway through. Not looking too good. I'm going to be staying something here. Kama does miss, so it's going to at least give somewhat of a chance, but even then, Lightwine just continues to miss, struggling immensely on this, and there goes Skilla. It's literally just Deca.
And literally just accuracy for Sweden as well. 94 on Zbinks with the best combo for them, but 93 and 90 for Skilla and Lightwine versus 98 and 96, 96 for the USA. Clearly way more comfortable on this map.
Just overall team consistency favoring the United States here. Not really much else to say. Deca holding on to the FC. See if he can close it out with that, but this map is pretty much over at this point.
Now there goes Deca, but mind the gap. It's 600k for the United States. This is already over and has been since maybe the first quarter of the map. This is some demolition from the United States and a very, very strong point for themselves after what has been a rocky start to the match so far, with Sweden taking 2 points in a row. The United States firing back with a 600,000 score lead on the Hard Rock 2 here.
Shout out to Spinks and Bashi at the latter half there. Spinks struggled in the beginning, but FC'd the entire ending. Bashi as well, getting most of his combo at the ending there, so very solid recoveries from both of them. Just unfortunately, overall team consistency favoring the United States on that, and it's going to be the United States winning their pick. So we stay tied at 2-2 as we get into Sweden's next pick.
And nicely done from both of these teams. We'll see where Sweden wants to go next. We're looking at either longer maps for consistency or easier maps to try to low star rating the United States. Unfortunately, not a lot of either of those types of maps left. You have the Free Mod 1, I think, is an okay pick for Sweden here. A little bit higher star rating than the Free Mod 2, but still not a bad pick whatsoever, and they are going to go for it here. 208 BPM aim tapping consistency combo sort of map here for Sweden.
A pretty recent map as well, but generally speaking, it's your fairly consistent map. A lot of people are going to be comfortable on this.
We're pretty likely to see a similar roster for Sweden as the previous map. We had Skilla on the Hidden and Lightline on the Hard Rock with Melwem on Nomad. Wouldn't be surprised to see Spinks come in for this, and he does. Melwem also coming in, so maybe Spinks on the Hard Rock. Spinks had a pretty good score on the last Hard Rock map as well. So, you know, if you're feeling good on the Hard Rock, you're warmed up on that mod. I think no reason not to put Spinks in for this sort of a pick. Skilla, a Hidden player, definitely taking the Hidden.
No!
Yes. And Taquito, probably going Hard Rock only, honestly, if I had to guess for the United States. Decaton, I think, would take the Hidden only. And, you know, of course, Kama would probably go easy on this map, honestly.
Yeah, you go easy on this.
Yeah. I think so.
In all seriousness, we're going to be seeing Taquito on the Hidden. Probably Kama Hard Rock. Since it's a generic aim map, I imagine he would want to go in for that. And Deca on the Nomad just to get the consistent FC. They're doing the Fable.
I was going to say Razorfruit or Tallulah, but Razorfruit definitely a little more comfortable on the aim here. So probably Razorfruit Hard Rock for the United States, if I had to guess.
I would imagine so, since I don't think Deca would take the Hard Rock if they want a consistent Nomad. Actually, it could go either or. I think it could go either or. Razorfruit is also very consistent on Nomad, so we'll see what they... It's just basically up to whoever is feeling better on what mod combination. So let's find out.
And we'll see soon. Roster's locked for both teams. Good luck. Funds are out. We're into Free Mod 1. Third pick for Sweden here. Looking to go up 3-2 and keep a tied game state, and it is Deca on the Hard Rock, as I have to panic the client because his mods are not showing up. And it will play the map Nomad and completely upside down. So just going to make sure
we love when that happens.
Yeah, I love turning client bugs. Yeah, Spinks on the Hard Rock, Skilla on the Hidden, Melwem on the Nomad for Sweden. Mods pretty much as expected for both of these teams. I think you can kind of either or the Hard Rock Nomad for Decaton and Razorfruit on the side of the USA, though.
They just have a very strong mechanics roster overall. You can pretty much put anyone in. Like Tallulah as well would be perfectly fine on this type of map. But
yeah,
we'll see how it goes for them as we get into the first hard part here. No one missing on those horizontal 1-2s or these. Just fairly strong start for both these teams once again, as we saw in the Free Mod 2. Not really any issues to speak of so far. Accuracy pretty much dead even. You can see the score flicker.
This is the strength of a roster like Sweden. These free mod picks very good for this team, where you have a couple players comfortable with Nomad, a couple comfortable with Hard Rock, and a couple comfortable with Hidden, but not a full roster on any of those mods. And that's a rough miss for Skilla on the jumps exactly halfway through this map. USA now with a big combo lead. It's only one FC down for Sweden, but you see the score already going pretty quickly over to the United States side. High accuracy on every member in the lobby right now as well. Full 99 except for Decaton on the Hard Rock, still at mid 98s as well. So good enough accuracy for the United States to take this score lead pretty quickly, now over 100k. Still climbing, but not a huge score lead quite yet, and there's still room for misses to swing this back the way of Sweden. A good recovery from Skilla making that possible.
They're going to need to see some misses really soon, though. Map's running out, and we're pretty much in the last 30 seconds here, and no signs of any of these FCs from the United States dropping whatsoever. Razorfruit on the 1x100.
And this is just, I think, already over now for Sweden.
Everyone hits the square.
One miss is deciding this map, Fiery. Again, it's this kind of ridiculous team consistency on both rosters, really making this match close, especially on the picks for Sweden. Unfortunately, that miss from Deka not going to be enough to give this over to Sweden in the end, and that one miss for Skilla deciding this entire map. 3-2 now for the United States off the back of that breakpoint. And if Skilla didn't miss there, overall accuracy is in the 99s for every member on the side of Sweden. They would have had modded full combos, both with 99s on the side of Sweden, without that miss for Skilla, and it would have gone their way. So crucial miss for the United States to be able to take that point and get an edge in this match for the first time.
Not really much to say. It's the same situation as Fremont 2. Sweden didn't perform bad. They had double FC and a 1x miss on side of Skilla.
Yeah.
It's just the United States performed better. They basically had a three-way. And we get into see if the United States can consolidate breakpoint. They tried this once before early on in the match and got upset on Nomad 3, so we'll see what they opt to go for here.
Yeah, slowly running out, I think, of the higher skill cap maps in this pool is the United States. And I think wary of picking into the speed into Sweden precisely because there is the possibility of an upset on those sorts of maps. So I'm looking at the Hard Rock 1, personally, for the United States. More of a gimmick-focused Hard Rock pick. That map, 156 BPM HR Alt for the Hard Rock 1 in this pool. We might also see the Nomad 4 again, another one of those more gimmick-focused maps, but I think if you had to pick between the two, it'd probably go Hard Rock 1 here for the United States.
What about Fremont 3? I'm thinking that.
I think you just let Sweden pick that, though, no? They've picked into 2 out of 2 Fremonts so far.
I guess, yeah. In that case, it'd probably be likely for them to pick into that, but I also think Nomad 1. Yeah, Nomad 1 would still be a good scenario in this, because they banned Hidden 2. Might as well pick the only reading map that's remaining. If you're not going to pick Fremont 3, here you go, Nomad 1.
Yeah, this one also works for the United States. Again, very good hidden reading roster. In this case, Nomad low AR reading roster. You have Taquito, you have Bashiman, and Decaton as well. Not too shabby on the Nomad low AR in particular. Actually pretty good on that skill set, despite being more well known as a hard rock and alt aim control player. Decaton also just a very good all-rounder and can play this Nomad low AR reading. I think better than the remaining 3 on the roster for the United States. So that's pretty likely to be the roster for them. Skilla, of course, staying in for Sweden. And honestly, I'm really not too sure who is playing this map for Sweden if you are looking for the lower approach rate. When they played Fremod 3 last weekend, the anti-mod Fremod last week, it was 2 hard rocks for Sweden with Skilla taking the hidden. So clearly a team that wants to avoid those lower approach rate maps when possible. When they did have to play low AR reading in qualifiers, it was something. Their submitted score was Skilla with a full combo, Spinks with 180k, and Trumpetino with 130k. This is a team that does not want to play low approach rate reading.
I respect it.
Yeah, they do have Trumpetino and Spinks with some slightly more respectable scores. 360k, 440k on the Nomad 4 in qualifiers, that low AR Nomad in quals, Nephilim. So I think we'll probably see them again. It's actually Melwem coming in for this map on the side of Sweden. A little surprising there, but Spinks, again, not super comfortable on low AR by any means. So not too surprising to see some swaps there for Sweden.
Razorfruit coming in on the side of the United States over Deka, which Deka and Razorfruit, I think you can pretty much just swap them in and out, and you could still make sense of the roster. I think they share enough of similar skill sets to where they're pretty much interchangeable, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see how this reading map goes. Very obviously gimmick-oriented, a lot of overlaps on this, and a lot of awkward angles where you can trip up on very easily, like these triples, for example. Those are deceptively hard, I'd say, as Sweden is gone. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think this pick might be good for the United States. Something tells me this pick's pretty okay for them.
Yeah, I mean, it is the early stage, so misses from the United States can still impact the scoreline overall here, but just in terms of general consistency, in terms of what we're seeing right now, the United States is kind of just rolling and not looking to stop.
Another miss on the aim for Skilla as well. Like, the one player you're hoping for on the side of Sweden to put up a good score, also having trouble with the consistency on this map. It's just...
Here's how Sweden here's how Sweden can still win this pick.
Need some DCs. Need some DCs on the side of the US for Sweden to win this at this point. Oh, there goes Bashi. Not really going to matter, though.
Yeah, Bashi missing on the overlap. That's just unlucky. Yeah, they'd pretty much need every single player on the United States to miss, and even then, I don't think that's going to be enough. So, go next.
And you know what? If Skilla is feeling this uncomfortable on this sort of map, right? How does that impact the pick strategy for Sweden going into the rest of the pool? You've got free mod 3, sure, as a remaining free mod, but if your one low AR player isn't doing well on low AR in this match, then maybe you want to avoid that pick, and suddenly the rest of the pool does not look that great for Sweden. You've only got the Nomad 4, the Hard Rock 1, and the DT pool remaining outside of that.
Now, Skilla gets a buff with it, and he'll be fine.
That's true.
No FCs remaining at the end here. It's going to be misses from everyone on the United States, but it does not matter. Damage is done. Almost 1 million score gap. There's not really much else to say.
Would be double score except for that big combo from Skilla at the end of the map as well. No score above 500k for Sweden, and every score above 500k for the United States. Complete team wipe in favor of the number 2 seed in the tournament. Looking very strong for the United States, and suddenly the pick strategy for Sweden may be in question here going into the rest of the pool. As you said, only Skilla has to take hidden on the free mod 3, so maybe they can still pick into that. They can go double hard rock and try to get rid of some of that weakness, but if you're double hard rocking an anti-mod pick, you definitely have to perform a little bit better than your opponent. And outside of that, I mean, the hard rock 1 exists, but I'm not picking that into the United States, personally. Into Bashiman, Decaton, Hard Rock Alt does not seem like a great pick. Nomad, I believe that's Nomad Tech or Nomad Gimmick. Unfamiliar with the map for Nomad 4.
Yeah, also, it is Nomad Gimmick.
Yeah, also not a great pick. And then the DTs, you picked Nomad 2 first and lost it on the side of Sweden. So this is suddenly a much more difficult situation for Sweden than before this Nomad 1.
There's not... I think Nomad 4 DT2 and Free Mod 3 are probably the more... Okay, never mind, DT3. They're going to keep going with the speed. They picked Nomad 2. So, maybe just saying, you know what, we got a bad score on Nomad 2, low rolled it, we can do better on this.
I mean, you have to pick something, right? So,
yeah,
even if the picks, maybe you don't think they're great on paper, you pick the map you're most comfortable with, and hope that your team's comfort is enough to bring you the point. And that's kind of how the pick strategy goes in matches where you are the lower seeded team.
Yeah, like none of these maps, I'd say, are especially Sweden favored. They have good rosters for all of them, but you're playing against the number 2 seed. You're gonna have to noticeably step up your game. I mean, we saw that on Free Mod 2 and Free Mod 1. See what rosters decide to come in here. It looks like Skilla, Jagecko, and Trumpetino on for Sweden. Tallulah, obviously, on the United States. I think Kama probably going to be the last one. Takedo, kind of surprising, but not necessarily. He's been working on his speed recently, so he's more than comfortable at early stage speed, such as this.
Yeah, I mean, you're not seeing Deca or Bashi in for this, so it's really just a question of who among the remaining 4 you want to put in for the United States. I think Razorfruit could also go in for this pretty well, but I would not be surprised to see any of the remaining four on the US who are not named Bashi and Decaton come into this map.
Put Bashi in.
That's real. We get Bashi Fiery on this map. I think that's a sick duo, actually.
The easiest way to get below 200k.
All right, it is going to be Kama for the United States as their last player. Yageko, Trumpetino, and Skilla staying in for Sweden on this map. Speed roster's locked for both teams, and we'll see how well Sweden can perform on this pick. If you lose this map, this is potentially your last pick, so a turning point in the match one way or another for Sweden. If they win this pick, they're 3-4, and they still have the potential to keep the match rolling. You don't give over that match point to the United States. You lose here, it's match point for the US, with the US having the next pick and having won 2 out of 2 speed picks as well. So the entire pool opened up for this roster if Sweden does lose this map.
Very short map on this, so early misses like that from Trumpetino do somewhat matter, but it's going to be more the streams. Let's see who does good on those. Skill are going to be dropping. That is not a good sign for Sweden early on here.
Yeah, again, this is a really short map. We're already a third of the way in. This is an incredibly short 1 minute and 24 seconds. So any misses at any point in the map, pretty impactful. And with 2 misses already for Sweden and lower accuracy to boot, you're going to be
What the hell is Taquito doing? Look at his accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, the finger control in this section is tough, but Taquito's a good finger control player. Unfortunately, Tallulah and Kama also dropping now, so combo in the favor of Sweden, and suddenly this map does not look so doomed, but there goes Trumpetino! Misses on a buzz slider right before the end of the map, and now it's Yageko and Taquito. Taquito is just demolishing this, though. 98% accuracy to 93 for Yageko, and there goes the last combo on Sweden. It's the United States through and through with another win on speed.
Yeah, that accuracy is kind of dumb. I knew Taquito could play speed. I did not know he could get 98% on stuff like this.
AR8 OD7 with not much flow aim. If you have the raw speed, if you have the raw tapping, and you don't have to focus on that flow aim, it becomes much easier. And Taquito, a player known for that consistency in tournament, brings it out once again. And yeah, any thoughts?
Unsurprising considering what we just saw. Alongside the fact that, in general, outside of Nomad 3, the United States has just been better on the gimmicks so far.
Well, we're going to see Magenta Potion here for the United States. Last pick, 5-2 against Sweden right now. Looking really strong in the back half of this match. It was Sweden with a quick 2 points after their first pick went awry against the United States. A break point of their own, followed by a win on the Fremod 2 for Sweden. But after that, it has been 4 in a row for the United States, looking to make it 5, looking to make it the win, and advance to the semifinals with Magenta Potion. Finger control, tech DT on some slightly high AR 10.1. 225 BPM, and very, very shit missable sort of map. You've got tons and tons of buzz sliders in this map, so potentially a point of concern for a roster like the United States, where you want to kind of abuse the harder maps in the pool, abuse the higher star rating maps in the pool. Place maps like this where you can shit miss a lot are a little scary for any higher seeded roster.
Yeah, I'd say this and Nomad 4 are the maps where it's pretty difficult, I'd say, to be overall consistent on. There's just a lot of things where you just miss randomly and you don't know why. So this is, despite the insta pick, obviously the United States are feeling comfortable on this. This is still possible for Sweden to break point here. And then they would get another pick. See what happens. I'm going to be swapping in on the side of Sweden, as well as Decaton on the side of the United States. Other than that, roster is staying the same.
Early breaks for Melwim and Trumpetino. Again, another pretty short DT map here, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Takedo with the first miss for the United States here. Now, 2 full combos to 1. Accuracy still much better for the United States, 93, 94 for Melwin and Trumpetino. And Melwin with another break there, a quarter of the way in. Really going to start to lose out on a lot of that potential score in the play, as it's just Skilla holding onto the full combo for Sweden. Another break for Trumpetino, and Kama Dekaten with a 99.7 for Kama.
Yeah,
and 97%, 96 now for Dekaten, but another miss for Skilla. This match is already over.
Yeah, Kama's doing Kama things, unfortunately. Unfortunately for Sweden. Deka is right alongside that, alongside Takedo for that matter. Deka's going to be dropping at the end there, but Takedo has the supporting combo, and there's just nothing on the side of Sweden. Going to be 1 million point difference. No chance for Sweden to come back on this. That is going to be GG. Well played. As the United States progress in the winner's bracket, Sweden get knocked down to the losers.
And I think a pretty good way to end it out for the United States. You know, the 2 points for Sweden went pretty well for them. We've had a 89k difference on that 3-mod 2, and an almost 300k difference on the no-mod 3 for Sweden early on in the match, but then it was 600k, 300k, 900k, 500k, and now 1.2 million, almost double team score for the United States on their last pick to close it out here against Sweden, looking very strong in the final stretch of the match. And a good look for the number 2 seed.
That accuracy from Kama on that map is honestly just ridiculous with Scorby too.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to act than it looks. That is just insane. That's going to do it. The United States, as we mentioned, progressing in the winner's bracket. They get to go into the semifinals. Going to be facing off against, let me see here, pretty sure it's going to be, yep, it's going to be the winner of Hong Kong and Philippines. So 2 very good teams still remaining there.
Yeah, 5 matches down so far this weekend, and 3 to go, all on Sunday tomorrow. And starting off, actually, with that match between Hong Kong and Philippines in the winner's bracket. Winner of that match faces off against the United States. Loser of this match, in this case Sweden, going to be facing off against Indonesia in the losers bracket. So good luck to them in that match. Indonesia looked pretty good in their match versus Poland earlier today. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that match next week in the losers semifinals. For now, that's going to do it for us here at the 3-Digit World Cup. Thank you all for watching. Congrats to the United States for the 6-2 win here in the quarterfinals. Hello?
You need to look at the stream chat. Hashtag stream.
Yes. Thank you.
No worries, I got your back.
So as I was saying, congrats to the United States on the 6-2 win. Good luck to Sweden in the losers bracket. And as well, a reminder, you can contribute directly to the prize pool via the Open Collective donation set for the 3-Digit World Cup. If you enjoyed this tournament, if you enjoy seeing the gameplay from all the different countries in this tournament, consider contributing to the prize pool. Good incentive for all the players to sign up and compete year after year. And also, shout out to the sponsor of this tournament, Blue Bunny. You can use the code for Blue Bunny 3WC10 on bluebunny.store for 10% off your next tablet cover order. Thanks a bunch to Blue Bunny for sponsoring the 3-Digit World Cup. That'll do it for us here. Our next matchup is tomorrow, as we said, between that's not the right matchup. There we go. Hong Kong and Philippines at 13 UTC Sunday. We'll see you all there. Congrats to the United States. Good luck to Sweden in the losers bracket. Thank you, Fiery, for the cast. And we'll see you all in 16 hours.
See you then.